I grew up on a vegetable farm. So I grew up homeschooled, and mom and dad started the farm when my sister and I were growing up. So it's always been a part of me in a lot of ways. Yeah.
I met him when I was in high school, and was introduced to that kind of farming and sustainable farming, and it just really resonated with me. But then I went off to college to get an art degree.
Yeah.
When I graduated from art school, it was the middle of the recession, and the jobs were just not available. And so I ended up being offered a job by his father. And then I naturally gravitated towards the flowers at Dayspring Farm and kind of took over their flower share and started like being kind of in charge of doing the bouquets every week. And
Yeah, you've always been drawn to the flowers.
yeah. You know, we lined all this up to culminate in 2020. And then COVID happened. But we were able to survive. Everybody was at home. Everybody wanted to beautify their homes with flowers. They wanted fresh flowers, and they wanted to support local businesses, and they were reaching out and trying to find out ways to help if you put it out there that you needed help. So we did that, and then I took out a social media ad for the first time on Facebook and Instagram, and we just said, hey, you know, we're gonna sell flowers off of our front porch. Come get them. Here's the way you can pay, and here's the way you can do it safely so that nobody feels exposed. People were making road trips from Charlottesville, Virginia Beach, all over Eastern Virginia just to come pick up flowers off of our front porch. It was just like really heartwarming to know that people cared that much, and they also just love flowers that much.
You know, I always think flowers are kind of extra. You know, in a certain way, I do feel like they are kind of extra. They aren't something you have to have. But after seeing that sort of response, there's more to that. There's more to flowers than just they just look pretty and they're just for this event, or they're just for this party. There's a lot more to them, and a lot more depth, and a lot more meaningful reasons people have them in their homes, and it makes you feel different. And we really realized that when I started to see that response.
The way he communicates is in such a special way that people want to work for Paul. They want to come to work every day and work for Paul because he is that kind of team leader. Mm-hmm. He leads by example, and he communicates well. And I'm not sure that I'd be in the same place if it was me trying to lead the team. I'm more of an introvert, and I do a lot of like planning and organizing and research, and it's been so amazing to see how he has skills and I have skills, and we both, somehow it works.
I think for me, flowers have always been kind of something that you need for something else. But I think the complexity of flowers and the complexity of its natural organic shape and beauty, and what it's doing is blooming to produce more. That's it. That's the end goal for a plant, is to flower, bloom, and then go back to earth and reproduce or do whatever.
It's sharing its biggest show with us.
And to be, you know, I grew up on a vegetable farm where you let that happen, and then you harvested the fruit, and then you ate it. And then like this, we're taking something that's happening and cutting it and taking it, and just to look at it.
I think for me, being creative and how we think about like what this place could look like, what if you give us another 10 years, how many established plantings we're going to have here that we weren't able to have at our last place, like all these crops that we don't have yet but we're going to, and just the beauty of being established in a place for a long time really excites me.
It's super fulfilling to be a part of something that you can see but you can't all see all of, in a way. Teaching people how to grow flowers or how to be outside or how to work with their body. It doesn't all have to work out, but somehow it always does, in a way, with growing. Because we grow a lot of different varieties, and so one might not always make it, but there's always something that does. And then seeing the beginning and seeing the end result and the smiles that you get and just the pure enjoyment of something that, yeah, I already took it partially for granted because I'm living in it. So that's a huge part for me, is I have to be able to receive that sort of encouragement and enjoyment from other people too, to be able to do what I need to do, because it's not always easy to use your body all the time and to be so on.
Work-life balance is something we've been working towards since year 3, really. Just like, I know many farmers struggle with it because at the end of the day, the buck stops here. You know, when the employees go home and there's still things that have to be done, all the behind the scenes work that happens, all the machine work, maintaining of everything, mowing the grass, you know, keeping things looking nice so that the employees have a nice place to work where they're not wading through hip-high grass. You know, there's so many other parts of it, and it's easy to be consumed by those parts, but you have to find some balance within it so that you can see the beauty, so that you can see what other people see in the flowers and the beauty of what you do. You
know, it's very much a way of life. You know, we don't make a lot of money to just go and do whatever, but we have a lot of value in our way of life and being on a farm and living on a farm. You can just walk outside and walk around and it's beautiful. So that's what feeds my soul. You know, I could go do auto tech. I love working on motors. I love that sort of, it just gets me all excited. But this is something that is kind of a little bit of everything, and it's always changing, and it's a way of life. You know, you just, every day is a little bit different, but you're still home.
I became interested in flowers, I think, from a really young age. I think I've always honestly noticed nature, and that might sound cliche, but it's definitely something that I've always been aware of. I think there's just pure magic with flowers. in some ways, I was reminded of that during the pandemic when flowers were something that people really needed during that time. There was an uptick in people gifting people flowers because during that time, they really helped make people feel better. And I've always known that, but I think, it was just very stressful. And I found solace in working with flowers and creating pieces for people to enjoy. And I also was really just encouraged by really seeing their impact. I think that there is a true value to art. I think it really improves people's lives, and obviously flowers, like working with flowers directly, has a big part of that. Last year, I started getting in Gomphrena and started stringing them for this the Gomphrena installation. So each one is rather labor intensive, and it's been a very meditative process to do all these garlands. So, but yeah, a long time coming. So I was doing lots and lots of garlands over the winter. And the growers have been really wonderful to work with. In particular, I've been working a lot with Jenny at Windhaven. We've had a relationship for years now, probably 8 or 9 years, I think. And I really trust their ability to grow amazing flowers. And they've been invaluable just with talking with them and about what's seasonal, what's possible to get in the time frame we need. Jenny's been a wonderful resource. The story of photosynthesis is maybe my journey into flowers. I think wedding and event work has definitely been something that is my bread and butter. But I think as I've grown as a designer, I have really just felt the need to express myself in ways beyond just kind of paying the rent with flowers. I think flowers and foliage and pretty much any of these natural materials, I think they really speak to people. You see people react to just flowers sitting in a bucket and they're happy. So when you can create pieces that move people, it just makes me happy because I think it brings joy to other people as well. This installation has been a journey. I want to bring joy to people, and flowers are a way that I feel like can help. Initially, this was conceived of in 2020. The show was conceived of in 2020. And at that point, the intention was just to be able to spark joy. So, in some of the flower materials that I'm working with, marigolds, which are, the color is just amazing and electric, and it's like you can't help but respond to this beautiful color. Yeah, I want people to feel happy. Through this process, I think I think we're always growing, and that's one thing I've learned in this short time on this planet. Yeah, this has been a journey. I'm not sure where it's going to take me, although one thing that I've kind of learned throughout my life is that if you focus your energy on the things that you want to kind of keep cultivating and growing, then those things will flourish. So I'm hoping that my inner artist will kind of keep on flourishing and growing throughout this process, and that I can continue to explore what that means, and also to be able to continue to share that with people.
Rhea's installation was beautiful. The amount of time that it took her probably to make it is like truly incredible. I was really inspired by the Gomphrena and then also the yarrow. I've just loved yarrow. And so, I thought that I could capture it in just another form, in paint form. So she brought me some flowers to use, and I have used those for my painting. Yeah, I think I've always just been attracted to beautiful things and wanted to capture those things in my painting. My interest in art started when I was really little. I've always loved to draw and paint, and I wanted to be a fashion designer when I was like 12, and I drew clothes all the time. And then I just kept coming back to it, and it was really natural and easy for me. And then when I went to college, I majored in art. But after I graduated, I went into baking, just kind of by accident. It just happened. And then I sort of came back to art when I was in my 30s, and kind of this combination of like plants and food and art all came together into one. And I left baking and I became an artist full-time. My relationship with plants is very fueling. I just find a lot of like beauty and nourishment through taking care of them and having them in my vision and environment every day. It's like having a pet, sort of. Just having like a lot of beautiful, living, growing things around you just reminds you that, we're all living and breathing and requiring attention. And they are a good reminder to slow down and just see all of the natural beauty that is just right in my surroundings. My process when I'm working on a new piece, I find my botanical muse, my subject. I take reference photos of it. I find a good composition that I like to work with, and then I'll do a pencil sketch outline with a light box, and then I'll just use that photograph and my sketch and start to add paint in slowly. And it takes quite a while because I use watercolor, and it takes a lot of patience. You just need to wait for layers to dry and then add more layers, and and with the detail especially, it's just like layering and layering to get those kind of vivid colors and depths that you need. What I want to convey with my style is this line between realistic and whimsical. So like, I want it to look like the plant that it is because I really want to honor that plant. But I also want you to be able to tell that like it was hand-drawn and has a little bit of my own personality in there as well. I think what keeps me working, I'll definitely have points at which I'm stagnant or something or uninspired, but something always just comes and inspires me again. And painting is just, it's sort of a meditation. So it's definitely a flow state, and you kind of get addicted to it. And so that's what keeps me coming back to it, because it's just this like wonderful state in which you're just totally consumed by the creative act that you're doing. And it's beautiful.